Good morning, everyone. It's 9:01. We'll give folks a minute or two here to jump on.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Bruce.
There's no way I'm turning my camera on.
All
Not happening. Oh.
See my screen.
We can see your screen, Jackie.
Awesome, thanks. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining. It's 9:03. Let's go ahead and get started because you're sharing your Sunday mornings here with us. And I know folks have things to do the rest of the day. So thank you all for joining the Southside Community Council and hosting the team from Walnut Capital regarding the demolition of the UPMC Southside Hospital site. And any questions we have regarding that process and how that's going to go. So we have on the phone with us Jonathan Kamen, who represents Walnut Capital. Anyone else, Jonathan, from your team on?
Good morning, Jackie, and thanks again for hosting and for giving up your Sunday morning for this. We also have with us Frank Bavick from PJ Dick, and I believe we have Lucia on as well from PJ Dick, who are our general contractor and will be coordinating the activities to sort of walk through what we're doing.
Okay, great. So
I should also say Greg Perlman's also on as well.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining. I did throw together just a couple quick questions in the slide that I'm sharing, but what I'd like to do is sort of maybe go through that. Jonathan, I don't know if you had anything prepared to sort of rattle off here. And then once we get through that, if people would be kind enough to use the chat feature to either ask a question or to raise your hand, and we'll go ahead through the queue and call on everyone individually to come off mute and ask any questions, so we maintain some semblance of order here this morning. So Jonathan, I don't know, do you have anything you'd like to kick off by saying before I get into my brief agenda here?
No, what you can go ahead and run it, Jackie, and I think we've got the team assembled to answer all the questions. So
Okay, great. So I think you already answered the question. My first question is your general contractor for this phase of the development, which is pretty much demolition, and that is PJ Dick. The community was hoping to get in hand a site contact. So if anything comes up during the course of the demolition during the day or night, because things happen 24/7 down here, just so we have a number to sort of call and contact anybody on the team. And I don't know if that would be someone at PJ or in your court, but is that something that we could get to utilize in the future at some point?
absolutely. And Frank, I don't know if you want to weigh in on that, but our subcontractor for this is going to be Noralco. They've done demolition in the city for 50 plus years. What I will do, Jackie, is I'll circulate to you for you to send out to the group all the information about both PJ and Arauco's site superintendent, and then you can circulate that to the folks on this call or to whoever, so in case there are contracts. So I think there would be 2 layers there, both PJ
Great.
and Arauco.
Okay, and are they establishing a site office, or is there going to be a job trailer or anything down there? Are they huddled up in one of the existing buildings for this?
Frank, you want to take that?
Sure. This is Frank Babick with PJ Dick. So currently we're huddled up in the buildings. The building on the far right, the old training academy at the corner of Mary and 19th, that's going to host the equipment and the men during the demolition phase, and then that building will come down last. So for the demolition of the hospital proper, we do not anticipate setting up a field trailer at this time. Once we get into construction later on, we'll do that.
Okay, so basically the white brick building at the corner of 19th and Mary, you guys will be set up in there then. Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 white brick. There's 2 buildings. The one at the corner will house the field office. There's a smaller brick, real small, 30 by 30 or so. That'll come down first. So it'll be the white one at the corner.
Okay, and so speaking of coming down first and phasing, I don't think we've ever seen or really it's not been communicated yet, excuse me, how this is going to happen in terms of what happens first and what will we see as time goes on, sort of going down the block. Does that make sense? So what are you taking down first and what are you taking down last? Because we have I know you guys have buildings in multiple parcels.
Yeah, so there's 3 buildings on the parcel between 19th and 21st. I don't have the addresses in front of me. I think it's 1912 Mary Street is the small little brick one. That one is kind of in the way of the parking lot, and that'll come down first in about a week or so. We're just getting the fence up, as you guys are aware, and once we get the site secure, you'll start seeing equipment mobilizing next week, and the demolition starting shortly right after that. So the little 2-story building will come down first in a week and a half, and then they'll start deconstructing the hospital proper. They've been working in there for a couple weeks, gutting out the interior now, but the exterior demolition will start in a couple weeks.
And Jackie, if it would be helpful, I could share a screen and just show the picture of the 2 buildings.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to.
You should be able to take control of the screen.
Yeah, I don't want to steal your screen there, but I think that may be helpful for everyone to see.
Yep, absolutely.
The general plan has stayed the same since I think the last couple times we've met the community.
So Jackie, can everybody see at this point?
Yes.
So the little building that Frank was talking about is right here with the black awning on it. That's the building that he's talking about that is, in the way, so to speak, of the parking lot, and the first one to come down. And then this building on the corner will be the PJ/Norauco field office. That's helpful.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you to sort of locate everyone on the area we were talking about.
And then, as Frank said, that when he's talking about the hospital proper, he's talking about starting here and all the way down to 21st. So
yeah, so where you're starting there is basically like the old loading dock for the hospital. Can you guys describe for the community how this is going to come down and what they'll see? Because it's not going to be like a one-day implosion activity, right?
It will not be. It will not be. And that's why Frank called it a deconstruction.
Right.
Frank, you want to talk a little bit about the timeline?
Yeah, now that we're getting the interior, pretty much all the interior partitions gutted, we have a couple more weeks of that work on the interior. So as they're finishing up, that's why I basically said they'll be mobilizing the equipment to start on the exterior. So there'll be larger backhoes on tracks that will have equipment on the end to pull down parts of the building. And then when they get into the deconstruction of the steel, they'll be burning or using basically a large metal shear to start cutting the steel apart and separating that and hauling that off a site.
So how long will the main hospital take to deconstruct?
Approximately 6 months from now. I think
Okay.
I think in the previous community meeting, I think we said 5 to 7 or 6 or 7, but that's the anticipated duration right now.
And one of the things that we talked about, Jackie, was I think at this plan, Frank, isn't it that they'll be working 4 10-hour shifts, so Monday through Thursday, is that what we're talking about?
Yes, yes. 4 tens to try to keep down the activity on the site, Monday through Thursday. 7
Okay.
a.m. Yeah, starting at 7 a.m.
Are you going to have security on the site for after hours when you don't have crews there?
That was not the intention.
Okay. All right. Just
It
asking
will,
because
it will be secure, Jackie, with a fence around it. But that's something we can talk about if we find that it's necessary.
yeah, just it's a city neighborhood. We have a lot of people that come through the neighborhood. And so just, to maintain sort of safety and security. If you've ever looked out the window here on a Thursday morning or a Wednesday evening, because Thursday morning is trash, we got a lot of pickers that come through the neighborhood in pickup trucks and other things. So just throwing that on your radar, as well as sort of the transient population that we have coming through here occasionally. As far as so people over the next 6 months on mainly like our block, I live just a block away from the white building you have on the corner here. We're going to have a noise. We're going to have trucks. Can you talk a little bit about where all of those trucks are going, sort of like material management on the site, and how they're getting on and off site, in the directions that they'll be taking?
Yeah, at the last presentation, we had shown a couple of truck entrances. One is basically where that white building is, where John, the first building that we're taking out. Yeah. And then the second is on 21st Street, basically the back alley where the existing ED is. Keep going, John.
Yeah, I'll take you around the corner.
Yeah, almost against the abutment.
Yep.
I think it's on paper. I think it's titled Edwards Alley, but it's basically
I'm
where.
gonna show. It's right along here, guys. Sorry about that. Just give me 1 second. Right there.
Yeah, we have one there. We will have one there so that the trucks can get to the back side of the building and the machinery. And we do have an ancillary gate. We had in the original plan an ancillary gate figured at the corner of Mary and 21st in case we needed it, because we will not be shutting any of the street down at this corner. Yeah, right there, right where that sign is, to get in and out because of the building's proximity to 19th Street.
And so what's your plan for trucks? Are they going to come out of those sites? Are they going to come out of those site entrances, go down to 21st and then go up to Josephine and then out to 18th? Or are they going down 21st to Carson Street? Or are they utilizing whatever street in the grid is available.
Yeah, because the building's so long, when they're at the east side of the building, they'll be using more of 19th. And when they're towards the middle, they'll be 20th. And when they're getting towards the end, they'll be 21st. But the goal is to get the trucks to and from the site using as few neighborhood streets as we can.
Okay. All right. I just have two more bullet points on the notes I put together, and then we'll go ahead and go to anyone in the audience for Q&A. So currently you guys have your sub put up fencing on Mary Street. I have a number of pictures on my slide here. I went out this morning and took photos.
You want me to give you back the screen, Jackie?
Yeah, I'll just share that just real quick so you can see the current state of affairs there. Can you guys see that screen? So basically, right now, this is that white building at the corner of 19th and Mary. The guys came in, they threw up the fencing. The sidewalk's not closed yet, so it's not very clear for pedestrians to walk if they can walk up here or not. So that's a little confusing. They sort of laid down materials here. And then the other big thing is Mary Street's basically been taken down to one lane with the location of the fencing.
Was the meeting about the Walnut Capital apartments?
Hi, if you're on the phone, can you please mute yourself if you're not speaking or presenting? Thanks. So basically you can see here, actually it's pretty good indication with the salt that is left on the street. We're down to one lane. And not only do we have two-way traffic on the street, typically, we have
not that heavily trafficked.
The school bus, and then we have I didn't know if you've talked to Port Authority or anyone else if this is used as any emergency routes. Can you comment on this, if this is going to stay the way it is?
Yeah, this is Frank. So the intention was to have two-way traffic on Mary per the approved city plan. We have seen traffic go two ways, but we agree with you that it is very tight and it does appear to only be one. So on Monday morning, the fence will be moved in a few feet to allow two-way access on Mary. They will also be completing the fencing on Monday. And as a note, any cars that remain there will be enclosed. So we have to try to get anyone who's parking there to abide by the posting signs that we put up earlier in the week. But by the end of by Monday, we should have everything secured and the fencing moved in and the rest of the site enclosed, and all sidewalks will be enclosed in the fencing area.
Okay, so these couple cars that are at this corner right here, you're saying are you gonna tow those?
They'll either be towed or fenced in and towed.
Okay. Anyone on the call, if that's your car, might want to get
Yeah,
get over there and move it.
It was posted earlier in the week. The postings are still there. We did put a few signs under the windshield wipers of the cars that we saw, but they seem to be cycling in and out.
Okay. And then I think there was one more thing I just wanted to ask, but early on we were talking about, the parking situation in the neighborhood, and, it's all obviously tight already. And now, with both the no parking up by the hospital proper, and then that's going around this corner on 19th Street. Was there any thought to giving some full-time residents some alternate parking locations to sort of support this effort while, support their parking needs while this effort's going on?
Jackie, we can talk about that. And I don't know if there's a list that you have, but the issue is going to be that very shortly on the former Roche Taylor building, work's going to start there, and we may need the stage and do some other things in that site. So we don't want to create conflicts with cars in that lot, but let's have a conversation about that. If you can get me a list of affected residents, we can have a.
I can do that. Yeah, maybe even up on Josephine, the other site would be, maybe we could talk about people having that ability there too. So, all right, that sort of went through all my agenda questions. I'm going to go ahead over into the queue. So if you have a question or comment and you'd like to raise your hand, we can go ahead and go through that. Bruce Kraus, you have your hand raised. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for doing this. I want to thank Sussex Community Council and, of course, the whole Walnut Capital team for being here on a Sunday to help us walk through this. Excuse me. I guess my first comment is around security at the building. While all of this is taking place, it seems to me, Jonathan, that it's security is going to be not just important to us as residents here, but also to Walnut Capital and PJ Dick in terms of any kinds of liabilities they might assume during the process.
Yeah, we'll look at it, Bruce, and we'll get an answer as to how we're going to manage that.
Yeah, how do I want to say it? The site could become attractive to people that, might wish to engage in, less than contributing behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to see anything, be difficult for residents or for, Walnut or for PJ Dick, as far as that goes. Jackie, the pictures are very helpful about the fencing, and I appreciate the Walnut's desire to move the fencing in. And I think that is going to be very, very helpful in terms of traffic on the street. I don't want to speak for people that live there. It's not heavily traveled, but it's clearly traveled on a regular basis. And I think moving the fencing is going to help tremendously. Jonathan,
Does anybody hear me?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Does anybody hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hi, my name is Harry O'Brien. I live directly
Hi, Harry.
across the street from the hospital.
Good morning, Harry.
I apologize because I don't know how to turn on the hand.
That's okay.
I have
You
a
have-
couple of questions.
You have the floor, Harry. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, I'm not sure why we're having this conversation today and not a month ago. When this started, you guys were going to give us access to the parking lot. Now is what we're talking about. Josephine is not an answer. 7 o'clock in the morning is not an answer. This entire project is ruining my life, and I'm not real happy. And I would like to have somebody I can talk to directly concerned with this project. Good morning. Go ahead.
Thanks, Harry. We will have on-site contacts, but if anyone from Walnut or PJ wants to, again, sort of talk about maybe resident parking again and what we can follow up on and getting a contact out there to the neighborhood.
I'm sorry for busting in at this point. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm amazed that we're this far away and nobody from Walnut has contacted the 4 people that live across the street. What are you guys thinking? I mean, you know that we're here. You know it's going to affect us. You could knock on the door, send us a letter, send us a bouquet of flowers. I don't know, but there's been no contact, and that's beyond irresponsible.
Yeah.
I've been in the real estate business for 35 years. I've never seen a project like this run like this to the neighbors.
So, Harry, we'll circulate through Jackie the contacts for you for what you need. If you have questions about what's happening on site, and we'll make sure that we get them. What's your address, Harry?
My address is 1925 Mary Street.
Okay.
And I have grandchildren. I have people come to home. Josephine's not an option. You gotta figure out something better than that. This is what we promised when we started this. And then it was just dropped.
All right, Harry, we'll give you the information so you can be in touch with us if anything comes up.
Thank you, John, very much.
You bet.
Jackie, can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Bruce.
Thanks. So, in terms of the deconstruction of the building, much of it, I suspect, is governed under local ordinance and even state law, if not overreaching there. So, in terms of asbestos, mold, lead, varmint, all those kinds of things, that if I'm not mistaken, is all governed under local ordinance. Is that right, PJ
Well,
Dick?
yeah, so
Yep.
it's actually two pieces, Bruce. So there's local that handles a lot of it, but then there's also the county and the health department that handles everything else in terms of asbestos abatement and some of the hazardous abatement. And we've gotten all of our communication and all of our permits through them to get that done. And that's part of the reason why the work is happening on the inside and has been happening for a while without anything on the exterior. It's all press work.
Yeah, and that was going to sort of be my punchline there, that I suspected that the work that was taking place inside the building was exactly that kind of work, just to calm anyone's concerns that there could be toxic materials when the building does begin to actually start to deconstruct, that those that will lessen anyone's concern that there might be toxic materials in the building. But
Right. Frank, do you want to talk a little bit about the plan that we had to go through to make all that happen? In terms
Yeah,
of
so,
property?
yeah. So for the hospital proper, all the asbestos has been removed in accordance with the Allegheny County Health Department in the approved permit. All of the inspections have occurred by Allegheny County Health Department, and the hospital proper has been deemed clear.
Yeah.
That's when the interior demolition began. The crew then moved over to the Roche Taylor building, and they've begun the asbestos removal in the former medical office building at the corner of, what is that, Jane and 19th?
20 or 21st.
Oh, Jane and 21st. Yeah. So the asbestos crew is in there currently. They have a few more weeks in there, and they will then move over to Harcum. There's a day's worth on the Harcum property.
And there was questions the other night about the Hart Park, and whether or not that will remain. I'm not looking to go down that road, but is it possible that you might be doing some setup in the Hart Park while this is going on, or will people be able to continue to use that?
I think for the time being, our plan is to not stage in there. But I think that at this point, that's where we are. And I think it's to keep everything on the hospital proper side of the street. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. For demolition, we have no intention of going to the Hart Park.
Yeah. I'll end with this. I was a little surprised at the length of time that it might take to take the hospital down. Is that because of the Uber care that you're approaching the project with?
Yes. I think when we did this last summer, I think we were 6 to 8 months. We hadn't had a contractor on board at that point, and I believe we were showing, general logistics plans at the last couple community meetings. We now have a successful contractor on board. They did submit their demolition plan to the city. We did get it approved. It's a little more concise now that we have the contractor on board and they have their manpower and they know exactly which equipment there is. So one of the things that makes it, I guess, somewhat slower from your impression, is they're going to be recycling and reusing what they can and scrapping what they can. So the intention is not to go into the building and just tear things down and put it into piles and haul it to a landfill. What we can recycle will be sorted and taken and recycled, and then anything else that's going to a landfill will be sorted. There's also a basement on the corner of let's see, that would be Mary and 21st. So there's underground over there. We're also removing some of the foundations. That takes a little bit more time. And we have an underground tank we got to get out. There's also some mechanical equipment on the roof that's going to be a challenge. We have to cut it loose and bring it down to the ground. So it's more selective than it is just going and knocking everything down and hauling it to a landfill.
Well, you read my mind. It's where I was going to go next. That I like the terminology deconstruct as opposed to demolition. In that much, again, I believe this, and Jess Benham, I know you're on the call. You can jump in anytime you wish. If I don't want to step on your toes there, but I think much of this is governed through local, state, and county ordinances in terms of taking the building apart in a slow and orderly fashion. And then, of course, being responsible in our duties to make sure that what can be recycled is clearly recycled. What can't be, meets its due end properly. And I believe, again, that is governed by local ordinance as well. Am I correct in that?
Yes, and we don't want to forget about safety. The reason the fence is there and the reason we need the lane is to keep the people and the occupants and the residents safe. We will be on the outside of the building, walking around the building. We won't have equipment inside the building and pulling upon ourselves. So there has been a safety plan for the project. There's been 2 safety meetings internally with PJ Dick and Norelco, and we're all set once we get the equipment on site.
Great. Well, once again, I just want to thank Community Council for hosting this morning and for everyone being here to have the conversation. It's greatly appreciated. And Jonathan, I just got notice from Harry O'Brien to share his contact with you. So I'll share that with you when we're done with the call here.
Thank you, Bruce.
My pleasure. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your help.
So that was all really good information. It actually sort of answered one of the questions in the chat from Mike. What is the difference between demolition and deconstruction? And I think PJ went through sort of those steps there, indicating, what their plan is to sort of pick this apart. When does that 6-month duration start?
I think we're planning on it starting, let's say, middle of March, right, Frank?
Yeah, well, we figured 6 months once we brought the equipment in, which is over the next week and a half or 2 weeks. So yeah, same general time frame.
Okay, so you're going to start in March, possibly mid-March, and that will kick off that 6-month duration on the site. Okay.
Yeah, well, the little building would come down probably before mid-March. That's going to be probably in about a week and a half.
A week and a half. Okay.
Yeah, we need to get that out of our way to get the machines in and the trucks in and out.
Okay. This question is for, I think, both Walnut and PJ. When UPMC still owned the site, even though there wasn't activity or a lot of activity in the buildings, they still maintained the sidewalks and right now you'll have accessible sidewalks around Roche Taylor and other parcels. Are you going to maintain that for snow and ice the remainder of the season? Because I noticed it was not done over this past weekend when we had the snow come down.
Yeah, we'll make sure that somebody looks at that and gets that done.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Barb, you have your hand raised, I believe.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to say that we have not had, I don't believe, and Bruce can correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't had a project like this since Southside Works. And in the beginning, it was the the communication piece and involvement by the community was a little shaky. So I appreciate that we are actively involved, I would say from the beginning here, and there's an understanding that communication and involvement is extremely important by the community. It may have been May when we were still in the process of determining when the UPMC was selling the parcels to Walnut Capital. And Walnut Capital has been at a number of planning forum meetings, which occur regularly on a Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month at 5:30 via Zoom. And it's important, I think, when to have a standing meeting where residents and others will know that there's an update or something can occur. You'll get information at that meeting. What also happened with Southside Works was that there was a small group. There were 3 people, I believe, who met regularly with the developers of Southside Works, and they were doing involved in the I think in the work that was happening, and that was at a time when information needed to come back to the community to approve or not approve something that was going on. And there was also a plan that for Southside Works that they had to look at. And so I think that Jackie and I talked about this briefly. How do we communicate between planning forum meetings so that information can be shared at each one of those planning forum meetings to keep the community updated? It's good to have a meeting like this, but you never, when it's not part of your regular routine, you can miss information, you can miss a meeting. So those planning forum meetings will be extremely important, where the community and others will be able to know this is where we'll get an update. And that update can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but it also provides an opportunity for community to ask questions of Walnut Capital and others about the process. So I just wanted to have people know that. And if you're not on the list for planning forum information, please contact info@southsidecommunitycouncil.org so that you can be placed on the list. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Barb. So just to recap that, the planning forum meets, is it the second Tuesday of every month, Barb?
Yes, at 5:30 via Zoom.
5:30 via Zoom. If you'd like to join those meetings, there are not only updates on this project, but a number of good community updates on that meeting. So as Barb said, if you're interested on getting that meeting invite, reach out to us at info@southsidecommunitycouncil.org. All right. Does anybody else have any other comments or questions? I don't see anyone's hand raised or anything in the chat.
Jackie, we'll circulate the contact information. Are you able to get a list of the people who attended this meeting through your Zoom?
I think so.
Okay, we'll circulate the contact information for the relevant folks from PJ and Norauco and send that to you. Bruce did text me Harry's number.
Great.
So Harry, we'll get that to you directly.
May I say something?
But in terms of anybody else who needs it, Jackie, feel free to go ahead and distribute it.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you. So one last time, folks, anybody else with any comments
May I
or
say something?
questions?
Jackie,
Harry, anything else?
I apologize. I don't know how to get the hand up.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Now that my blood pressure has got down to normal, I'd just like to say I welcome the project. I know it's an important project to the neighborhood, but I have a family here that's been directly affected by it. I think it could have been handled better, at least on our point of view. The prospect of walking from Josephine home at night is not a very good one. The doctor's parking to the left of us is a good possibility. I would like you to look into that and see if that can be accomplished. 7 o'clock in the morning is, I don't know what to say. I know you have a contractors and you had to deal with it, but they've already been here to 4 or 5 in the morning dumping off dumpsters. So I don't believe the 7 is going to be accurate. It's going to start before that. Thank you for your listening, and I hope we can come to some kind of reasonable solution. Thank you.
Thanks, Harry.
Jackie, could I kind of help
Yeah.
answer Harry's question there?
Sure.
Good morning, Harry. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, PJ, Dick, or Jonathan, much of construction timeline as to when one can start and finish is also governed by city ordinance. Is that
It's
correct?
all right. It's all controlled by city ordinance. And part of the reason why we went with the 410s, Bruce, was to, again, minimize the disruption on the site. But yes, that is all controlled by city ordinance.
Right. So in light of that, and being that, how do I want to say it? We all want to just be good neighbors. It would be especially important to be uber cognizant of those timelines permitted by city, by which construction can take place, but that we work very strictly within those timelines and, to keep disruption in terms of noise and those kinds of things to a minimum. I appreciate that.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Bruce. So I think next steps, it sounds like to me is one, the fencing that's going to be adjusted on Monday. Any future maintenance of sidewalks, if we have another snow event here in the remainder of the season. We're going to get contacts for everyone on site, the main contacts for the site super. We'll have that in hand. We'll get that out to the group. And, maybe it would be a great idea, Jonathan, if you and I could just touch base and we can maybe have a monthly touch base with the community set up with a little more advanced notice. And maybe we can get a day that works once a month or bi-weekly for everyone to sort of jump on the phone and just touch base and make sure everything's going smoothly and neighbors have a chance to react and or bring up anything that's going on.
Yeah, I think let's figure out a time, maybe between that and the planning forum, we can have, something essentially, we'll have a touch base every 2 weeks, but we can do a separate monthly on just the demo while that's happening, because I think those are going to be different than planning forum issues.
Right. And then once the, if the folks on the phone weren't able to join the development activities meeting we had this past Thursday, of course, the planning and design of the new building is ongoing. So there'll be multiple other meetings during that process for the community to engage with the developer along the way. Did I miss anything there? I think that I sort of captured that.
Yeah, I just, the development activities meeting was just about the proposed residential use. And that I think described it step 1 of 6 steps to come. And, as we talk about design and what the thing's actually going to look like and number of units, that all is going to be probably, a 6 to 9 month process of community engagement.
Great. Okay, well, I don't see anybody else's hand raised on the Zoom. I don't see any additional questions in the chat. So I'd like to thank everyone for dialing in early on a Sunday and joining us. And please look out for future communications regarding this development with the Southside Community Council. We're going to be the conduit between the community and the developer. If you are not on our email list, that's how we're sending out a lot of these notifications, or via our social media. But if you're not on our email list, please send us a request to be on there at info@southsidecommunitycouncil.org, and keep an eye out on our social media posts for any upcoming information or meetings regarding this development. So thank you everyone for joining. Have a great Sunday and stay warm out there. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.